Good evening, everyone. This is Matt Houston. Today is February 18th, and I don't want to take too much of your time. I just wanted us to do a quick update. As you know, in Texas, there was this massive big freeze in Texas, and it's affected a lot of our infrastructure. So I don't want to take too much time. I just wanted to just reach out for a couple of minutes. One, to talk about this experience under Thinking Thursdays. Just to talk about my reactions to the reason actually of this from my perspective. My reaction to why we're in this currently and our projections. But before we do that, I want to thank all of my friends, my family, associates, colleagues, relatives of friends that's been checking on us down here in Texas. Thank you for your calls. Thank you for your text messages. Thank you for your DMs. Thank you for your messages on social media. We're doing well. I am in a place of privilege in terms of I'm fortunate that we haven't had catastrophic inconveniences. We have the water's off here, but I'm fortunate enough to be able to stay with my mom, where I care for my mom, where everything is running there, and so we're living in a minimalistic type space. So I'm very fortunate, but there are many others that are not in that position, and so please keep them in your prayers, and please continue to help your fellow person. The time Texas froze. This is definitely a one in a generation event that's happened here. I believe we hit record lows. I know in the North Texas region, but the perfect storm, if you will, of cold pressure from the Arctic, the jet stream thing that's happening from the equator has created this void in the Great Plains in this area, where an Arctic front came down and literally caused havoc in the state of Texas, dropping temperatures down to 8 degrees. 6 degrees is the lowest that I remember recording, or maybe one. It was at 1 degree, I believe. But it was just cold. It was inconvenient. We've experienced this before. That is only one part of the equation. That's literally 40 to 50% of the equation. Texas has, at least North Texas, have dealt with things like this before. I can think of 2010 when we had the Super Bowl here. I can think of 2011 or so when we had the All-Star game here or so. And I remember when I was living with my cousin Ben, and we were shut in for a week. And I remember thinking, this could, be a disaster. I'm having cabin fever, but it wasn't as intense as this experience here in 2021, and that's because of the other facet of the equation, and that is the our power grid. Our power grid has been compromised in terms of our restrictions or the frost or things on our wind turbines in West Texas and Northwest Texas. Our main issue is our natural gas pipeline that had some issues due to this weather, which prevented us to generate energy in our power plants, and it affected our entire grid. And our infrastructure have been compromised. That is 50 to 60% of the issue. And when those two together happens, you have this week, and so that's a lot to digest. We're still digesting, and we're living through it. Um, and like I said, there are many people that are still powerless, not only figuratively but literally powerless. They're continuing to have rolling power outage, or rolling blackouts across the state, and so we definitely need to be mindful of that. But this my reaction to our state allowing this to exist is very discouraging. It's it shows a lack of preparation that we've done, um, in our leadership, whomever is responsible. I think that this is a great wake up call that we need to focus on issues and building infrastructure, because Texas is projected to be a very opportunistic state for the union in terms of job and economic development. We are trying to develop infrastructure across the state, whether it's Austin, whether it's in the North Texas area, whether it's in the Houston area, or even the Rio Grande Valley. Um, we're creating new industries and ways of life, and not being able to get this right will hinder this. I know in North Texas we're projecting to have 18 to 20 million people in our region by 2040 or 2050 or so. And if we don't get this power infrastructure correct, or corrected, that's going to hurt our future way of life here. Um, so we need to adjust things. We not only need to adjust um, how we practice policies and procedures, but we also need to change and adjust our mindsets. Texans are known to be proud of our state. I'm included. As I mature, as I become more exposed to members outside of this state or outside of this country, I've learned to I've learned to identify the hubris and this state pride that we have, and to know that how a lot of that is not productive to bridge building. And so I've been readjusting my exercise of my pride, and where I am from, because I'm still proud to be a Texan, but I definitely understand, one, the history that was fed to me about Texas have many other facets that tells a different story that I must learn. If I'm so gung ho about Texas, I need to learn all of these stories so that I can make the best decision for the entire state. I grossly don't have that information with me now, and that is due to not for us not hearing everyone else's stories. I know that I'm particularly proud that my parents taught me my heritage and my history in the context of this state, but that's not widely known, and therefore it's not widely accepted. And so people that look like me um, not only have are not having their representation being uh, told to inform not only transplants but our educational system about our history, but we were literally told this exceptionalism in which this power grid is a great example of us showing that we will never fail, or that we are in the lead of the pack in the union, and this proves otherwise. So we need to adjust that thinking, not so that we can be down on ourselves, but um, so that we can walk the walk, walk our talk. It's not a bad issue to have confidence if you can back it up and you're building others around. And our projection is key, because our union needs Texas infrastructurally. in the middle of the country. We have a great highway system. We are in the center of port, not only east to west but north to south. So strategically, we're placed in a great position. So we need to be on our best infrastructural, organizational infrastructure. We have to be great, and in order to do that, in order to be great, we have to realize that we're flawed, so that we can adjust those flaws. And so, my challenge here on Thinking Thursdays is that Texas, let's do our part to make our area better. Governor Abbott, please do the right thing. Don't follow politics, but follow the people route in terms of ensuring that we have in your power in this 87th legislative session that we provide policies that will better our state and our citizens of the state of all populations, right, and of all industries. Advocates, community leaders, other elected officials, let's work through this together in this pandemic, on top of this winter storm, on top of all of these frustrations. Know that we're all frustrated. So let's work together to get out of this and not pull each other down further. Let's all punch up. And thirdly, let's all stay hopeful. Let's remain hopeful, and let's keep checking on ourselves, checking on your family and loved ones, and by whatever avenue that you have. And lastly, and most importantly, provide grace and love for people who haven't traditionally communicated with you as well, because this is hard times for everyone. And in everyone, people are still dealing with COVID. My best friend have dealt with COVID, and it was a traumatic experience. It's a hard experience for all of us. And so we have to make sure, and myself included, to figure out, not only us try to reach out to people to make sure we are touching base, but also have enough grace so that we can empathize how people are feeling. And that's key for us to survive through this. I don't want to spend too much time with you because I, again, want to respect your time, but I just wanted to, again, exercise and share my sincerest appreciation for everyone abroad who's been inquiring about Mom, about the family. We're all safe, and we're getting ready for dinner now. I'm trying to figure out what we can do. Stay safe, everyone, and we'll see y'all on the other side of this winter storm. Peace.